Javier, what's going on, Javier? How's the lady doing? Javier is actually a client of mine, guys. He's got the love of his life is doing time over at Coleman Camp. Obviously, the love of his life is a lady. Just to make that clear, not all of you know Coleman Camp is for women only, but he's real concerned about his girlfriend. Just really trying to look out for her, doing everything he can, making it happen for her, and hopefully, all willing, all goes well. You know, on her 24-month sentence, we'll have her out in under a year. That's the plan, guys. You got it, Billy. Man, yeah, I can't wait to do a video with you, Billy. I know you got obligations and everything with Michael Santos, but I think it'd be great for you and I to do something because you and I have some similar, the way we go about being on here and what we talk about and stuff. It just comes from, it seems like it comes from the heart. It's not so calculated. So I'd love to do something with you whenever you got time. Let me know. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, I do live shows, trying to figure out a way to be able to interview live so I can get you on your cam and we can do this like a little live duet. I hear you, Javier. One day at a time. That's the thing, guys. You got to remember. Oh, it's showtime, by the way. We're 7 o'clock. So let's get this show started. I'm rdapdan, federal prison time with rdapdan. And tonight, we're going to talk about a few things. One, I got a question from a reader. He's actually been on here a few times in the chat room and whatnot, from a guy named Sean Cowgill. So we're going to read a question from Sean. I also have a possibility of a way of helping some of you that might not necessarily have funds just rolling in. I know not everybody can afford consulting services, especially when it comes to more than just, answering some questions. When it comes down to helping you with your PSR, helping you with the letters, helping you with additional halfway house, helping you with Rdap letters, making sure you get into Rdap. I know a lot of you really, really need that service, but not all of you can afford it. And you don't know how upsetting it is that I can't just take everybody. I really, really wish that I could. And unfortunately, just like most of you, the real world requires me to pay my bills, just like it does you. And so I have to find a way to make it work for you and make it work for me, at least until this YouTube thing is going strong enough to a point where it's self-sustaining on its own with the way YouTube pays out and whatnot. But that might be a year or 2 years out. But I can promise you guys, when the money's coming from YouTube, it won't be coming from you guys. Oh, Todd's here? I don't know. Is Todd here? Does anybody in this room got Todd's number other than me? If you got Todd's number, send him a text. I know somebody does. If not, let me know and I'll shoot him a text here if we don't see him in a minute. Because I would really like him to be able to chat a little bit with Billy Gomez in the room. Because Billy, as you know, most of the people in my room that are looking at maybe going to federal prison aren't looking at doing a really long bid. They're looking at doing maybe 24 months to like a 60-month bid. Todd's looking at really getting 17 years. Like, I know everybody says, oh, sentencing day, they're looking at 17 years. He's got a hard ass judge. Prosecutors hate him. He really screwed himself over pretty good. And there's a high possibility that he's going to get that 17 years. So he would be a great person to chat with you a little bit, Billy. Great dude. He's really put himself through the motions to try to do what he can, but it is what it is. Anyway, back to what I was saying a little bit is I do not like turning away anybody. And I think all of you know that. That's why I will talk to you guys until I'm blue in the face. I will answer the phone in the morning. I will answer the phone in the afternoon. I will answer the phone in the evening, and I will answer the phone on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. All of you. I mean, I spoke to clients yesterday just to make sure they knew what was going on. If I don't hear from you in a while, I tend to reach out to make sure everything's going okay. So we got that. Other thing that we got going on is I'm actually getting interviewed tomorrow by a local paper that I'm not sure how they came about, but a client or somebody reached out to them, or somehow they got in contact with me, and they've reached out to me, and I was supposed to interview with them today, but it got pushed off. The lady couldn't meet with me today. However, she has already spoken with Todd. she spoke with Todd for about 45 minutes today, finding out like how Todd's interaction was with me, what I've done for him, not just the services wise, but what benefits did he get from a so-called prison consultant? Sounds like such a bad word. But if any of you would be interested in speaking to, a local newspaper in this area, shoot me an email at rdapdan@gmail.com and just put an explanation in there and how I've either helped you, how my videos have helped you, how this helps you process what you're going through. And it doesn't have to be for you specifically. Like, you don't have to be the one going to prison. If you got a friend or a family member that's in, and how this has helped you process for them, because I think there's a huge misconception of what prison consulting really is. I mean, anybody can go online if really the only thing somebody needed was like some forms and some templates on how to do their letters. You guys shouldn't be hiring a prison coach or a prison consultant just for that. But if you're looking for like real truth and what it's going to be like, keeping you honest, making sure you're staying on top of your game, not letting you blame others, helping you explain this to your family, and going through this emotional roller coaster so you can process it properly. I would say I'm as much as a coach as I am a consultant. This is my own little world that I've created, Rdap Dan's world. And I really don't think there's other prison consultants that are like me. I'm not saying I'm the best one. Everybody's going to find what works for them, but I am going to say I'm unique. At least that's what my mom always told me. She said, "You're special, Dan. You are special." So I feel like I'm special. And has anybody reached Todd yet? I'm going to shoot him a text. You guys let me know. Hate doing this when I'm talking to you guys. Where are you, Todd? All right. So the message has been sent. We've reached out to Todd. Okay. So let's kick it off with the question from Sean. I don't know if Sean's in here right now. However, we are going to read Todd's question. And this is something we have touched on before, but it's the most recent question I've gotten. So we will talk about it again, just in case. So Todd's question was, on Saturday, I learned it costs 5 cents a minute to type and send your emails in prison. How much does it cost to read my emails in prison, or is that part of the fee? Todd's logging on right now, guys. Just got the update. So when you log into your email, when you log into your core links, your actual, the internet of the prison, the BOP internet, the fake internet, it doesn't cost you anything to read like messages within the BOP system, to read like the newsletters and stuff like that. But once you log into your email, whether you're writing an email or reading an email, you start paying 5 cents per minute. So you guys all follow me on that. So if you're checking your email, writing an email, reading emails, 5 cents per minute. Okay, so we got that. He also wants to know, when he surrenders, is he able to bring any type of a piece of paper with like information on it, or like phone numbers, people's email addresses, just personal information? And the question to that is, theoretically, it's yes. There might, the intake guard might tell you no. So make sure somebody has that as a backup. But for the most part, when you're self-surrendering, like I did it, I brought a piece of paper with some personal information on there, like names, numbers, email addresses that I really needed to make sure I had in prison for obvious reasons. So make sure you bring that with you. And if they don't let you have it for whatever reason, make sure somebody's email that you can remember, that you're not going to forget, make sure they've got a copy of it so they can email it to you once you start communicating. So as a backup, we've got Todd Hansen is officially in the house. How you doing, Todd? Todd's countdown is on. Billy, you still in the room? Billy Gomez? Hope you didn't walk out on us yet. Todd, Billy Gomez, who was in the room a few minutes ago, and he might still be here. We'll find out in a minute. Billy Gomez actually served a lengthy prison sentence. He served, I think it was 14 years. He just posted it in there. And oh, there he is, Billy Gomez. Billy Gomez, meet Todd Hansen. Todd Hansen, meet Billy Gomez. So Todd, here is a person that has gone through what you're about to go through. He spent 14 years locked up. You might have actually seen Billy. He actually did a video with Michael Santos, and talking about his prison sentence and whatnot. But I just feel like with you getting ready to walk that walk, Todd, that Billy might be able to give you some, some hints, some tips, or at the very least, tell you what was good about prison, what was bad about prison, what the biggest difference is between serving a long sentence versus a short sentence. Is there a lot of moving around? Are you getting sent from one prison to the other? So that is a source for you for some real life input. And look, I've been, just so you know, Todd, I've been following Billy on Facebook for probably about a year, close to it, something around that. So I think from what I've seen, Billy seems to be keeps it 100 all the time. He's got funny stuff on there. He's joking around, but it doesn't seem like he's ever putting on a show. Not to be a different type of a show. So there you go, Todd. There's another little resource for you to question. So get prepared, Billy, because Todd's got a lot of questions. So you guys can exchange emails and all that stuff. Keep the conversation going in the chat room. I'm sure others would like to hear it. But yeah. All right. Well, that's going on. What do we got? 11 people in the room. So let's talk about how we can reach out and help other people. So first off, I've been doing some homework and I've been talking to my team and whatnot, and we might be able to now. Don't take this like the wrong way, but for those of you that need it, that cannot afford services, and most of I've reduced my fees. I try to do everything that I can now. I was able to get my team to do, basically right now, the way we do everything is it's a flat fee, you guys, $14.95. I'll just throw it out there. $1,495. That's what we typically charge across the board, whether you need one service or whether you need 5 million services. That's the fee, because a lot of the stuff is really redundant. Letters for RDAP, letters for sentencing, letters for halfway house, preparation, things like that. A lot of it's the same. It's just a different avenue that we're going down. So with that said, I've been talking to my team, and for those of you that here's an actual form. I got a form here that you guys can fill out. It's a Google document. Let me throw it in the room. It's also in the description. If you guys don't, for those of you that watch us later that aren't live, there's a document right there. I don't know if you can click on that or whatever, but so what it is, it's just a form, and we're relying on you guys to be honest. Don't take advantage of it, or else we'll have to get rid of it. All of a sudden, if I get flooded with, 300 people that are all like, yeah, I can't afford anything, I'm broke, but yet, you're driving around in nice cars and you're living in, giant houses still, and you're still got income coming in. Save this for the people that really need it, because my team is willing to take a hit. And when I say my team, me included, we're willing to, because we don't want to turn people away, guys. And until this thing has grown enough legs to where it's big enough on YouTube, to where YouTube is self-sustaining it from YouTube funding and things like that, at that point, nobody will ever pay anything. And I'll keep my staff on, I'll pay them, and we'll bring on people, to make sure you guys are taken care of, because I don't want to have to turn anybody away. It's very, very upsetting. So I just sent you that link. If you click on that link, fill it out, shoots me an email, and then we can look into it, consider it, and we can see what we can do for you. But the goal is to make it affordable for you guys that cannot afford it, because I was one of those guys. I was one of those guys that the feds took everything. They shut me down. I literally had I think it was a savings account was the only thing they didn't hit, and it had like $500 in the savings account. So when it was all said and done, I had like $500 to my name. And I couldn't even get a prison consultant to breathe in my direction once I told them I was broke. It was like, before I could finish saying the word broke, I could hear dial tones. So I don't ever want you guys to be like that. Hey, Billy, if you send me your YouTube page, I don't know if you can send a link in here. Somebody told me it prevents you from putting links in here because of, they don't want people like self-advertising or whatever. But if you email me your YouTube link, I will be, actually, you know what? Let's show Billy some love right now, guys. I'll show you the kind of guy I am here. Let's look up Billy Gomez. Billie, right? What is it? Let me switch screens so I can see what's going on. Billy's is Billie. Bill Gomez. I think I found him. All right. This is Billy Gomez's page. Okay. Guys, if you want to go check out Billy Gomez's YouTube page, boom, there you go. Go ahead, subscribe. He's got, what's he got? He's got about 16 videos up there, and not sure how many subscribers, but yeah, it doesn't tell me how many subscribers you got, Billy. But anyway, you guys should definitely check out, Billy, show some support. That's what this is all about. Community is method, guys. I'm not trying to hog it all. I know if I send you guys in the right direction, you guys will remember where it came from. If we all did that, this would be a different community. If prison consultants and other people that have YouTube channels that is prison related, if everybody just wanted to put out good content, it wasn't so worried about how much money they can make. What I've learned, guys, in my time of going through this, and what I've been going through, is before I got in trouble, it was all about the dollar. How much money can I make? How fast can I make it? And I was so fucking greedy that I didn't want anybody else to get anything. Like, I wanted it all for myself. And I ended up with nothing. I ended up with, homeless, basically. I ended up with nowhere to live. I ended up in prison. Everything was taken from me. Friends that I thought were friends are like shadows, man. They're there with you when it's dark, but the minute you step out, or I'm sorry, they're there with you in the light, but the minute you step into that dark, they're gone. So, I don't need fair weather friends like that. I like real relationships. And I think if more people have that mentality, especially in this space, there's something for everybody, right? I might have something that you need. Billy might have something that you can take from. All the other prison consultants out there might have something that you can take from. But when we don't want to share and put out good content and bring each other aboard and talk about it, it just becomes, it makes it a dirty world, charging $10,000 for what? I don't know. It's just not worth it. I mean, you guys tell me, do you think it's worth $10,000 to get letters done, to get PSR preparation, to get Rdap preparation? Don't get me wrong. If someone said, pay me $10,000 and I will shorten your sentence by 24 months. Yeah, sure. But it's like when a hurricane comes and all of a sudden the cost of plywood triples in cost. We're not trying to price gouge, at least not on the rdapdan side of things. Price gouging, we can leave that to the crooks out there of the world. We know who they are. Won't say any names, but we will say Rdap law consultants. Got no shame in putting them on blast. So let's read some comments here, see what's going on. Have I missed anything? I've been telling you guys for since Christmas. Remember I told you guys my girlfriend, she got me a really cool Christmas gift. She got me some shoes that say rdapdan on them. And I've always been meaning to show them to you guys. So I actually brought one of them in here with me. So as you might think, these are my favorite shoes right now. But everybody that knows me, they know that this is like my life. They know this is what I live for. This is what I love to do. There's my family and there's Rdap. And I'm telling you, this comes in a super close second to everything else that means something to me in my life. I feel like all of us that come in here on a regular basis, there's a kinship that I feel closer to some of you than I do people that I know in my everyday real life. Well, my everyday outside life, outside of this. But thanks, Billy. Appreciate it. Yeah, I love the shoes. But doing this, my goal, look, guys, my goal is not to be just a prison consultant that finds a way to nickel and dime everybody to try to get money out of you to hire me for services. Do I want you to hire me? Absolutely. But when it's when the service, I mean, when this YouTube channel gets to where it needs to be, with your guys' help, sharing this with your friends and your family. Look, those of you that are getting ready to go to prison, this channel is going to be just as useful. I've got people in here like Kimberly and a few other ones that are not going to prison, but they've got family that's in prison. I read you guys the email the other night or the other day from the lady that her brother is serving a 17-year prison sentence, and she's losing her mind because she doesn't know how to handle all the things that he needs. So by being able to come into a community like this where you can talk to like-minded people that are also going through it. So you guys should be telling your family members that you're going to be dealing with on a regular basis, you should be telling them to subscribe. Those of you that have attorneys that you can actually communicate with your attorney, you should be explaining to your attorneys about what we do and how this works and why I'm different from, the guy that's trying to, sneak your checkbook or your credit card out of your pocket. These are the types of things that you guys can do to spread this word. Because there's no reason why every couple of days we shouldn't see the subscriber base jump up 100 subscribers. There's no reason for it. And I'm trying to do as much pushing on my side because I know once that happens, boom, this thing is going to grow on its legs. It's going to take off on its own. And everything that you guys need when it comes to whether it be anything prison related, information, services, there will never, ever be a charge for it. And that's the beautiful thing about building this community. Once it's large enough, you guys won't have to pay for it. We can find other means to cover the cost. And that's the goal. Yeah, Dan, I forwarded your info to the families of 2 of my students. Hope they subscribe and tune in and call you. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. And not everybody's going to follow you. Look, sometimes, guys, you can put the best information in the world right in somebody's hands and they do nothing with it. I've actually got an example of that. Not to get off subject too much. However, most of you maybe know of, I'm sure most of you have heard of like Bitcoin. Has anybody in here heard of Bitcoin? Bitcoin. It's like a virtual currency. If you've heard of Bitcoin, so obviously there's other coins out there that are similar to Bitcoin. Okay. There's one called, I think it's called Ethereum or Ethereum, or I forgot its code is ETH. So if you typed in like ETH, or if you typed in Bitcoin plus ETH on Google, you would find it. So this other coin out there, like Bitcoin right now for one Bitcoin cost over $1,000. Okay. So that's crazy. So I'm not saying that Bitcoin's a bad investment for those of you that might be looking for like something to do, something to make some money, throw a couple $100 in and see what happens. So if, so Ethereum is right now it's real low. It's like $28 a coin. However, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was at $11. And I've been watching this thing every single day. I made the choice to put just a little bit of money into it, and it's skyrocketing through the roof. And if you read any research on it, I've been telling everybody about this, maybe not you guys. I've been telling everybody about this, and I'll tell you guys, if you get into it now, and I'm talking, you can $50, $100, whatever you want to put into it, it's going to do exactly what Bitcoin did and then some. It might take a year or 2 years, but right now this thing is $28 for one coin. Okay. There you go, Kimberly. So $28 for one coin. When this thing hits up to $1,000 per coin, $2,000 per coin, you guys can cash out and have a nice little chunk of money, especially people that like Todd, you're getting ready to go to prison. Throw a couple $100 into there and just let it sit. And 4 or 5 years from now, you'll see, you just got to do the homework, guys. But as you can see, and I'll show you here, I've got the app on my phone. As you can see, that's Bitcoin. I don't know if you can see it. Sorry, it's a little bit blurry. But Bitcoin is $1,249 per coin. Then you got the Ethereum, which is, won't focus, $28.11 per coin. So there you go. All you got to do is download. It's you download the Coinbase wallet. It's either in the Google Play Store or yeah, I'll show you what the app looks like so you can find it. So it's the app is the one with the C on it in the middle. Man, this phone. It just says Coinbase. Okay, you download the Coinbase app. You create an account. It's free. It's secure. You can link it up to a PayPal account. You can link it up to a credit card, a bank account, whatever. And then it gives you the option. Once you've created your account, it gives you the option to buy it right within the app. You just click on it, buy, charges you like $2 a transaction or something ridiculous. So take a look at it because it's the way of the future if you guys aren't paying attention. I can't believe we're talking about Bitcoin right now. This is obviously my other hobby that I spend a lot of time. Best piece of advice I ever got was if you're going to invest in yourself. It's very good advice, Todd. And that's what I feel like I'm doing with this whole Coinbase thing is I've been watching it for about a year. I had a good friend of mine named Dylan, who actually he also went to federal prison. He actually was the guy that created Mr. Nice Guy. I don't know if you guys remember Mr. Nice Guy. It was like a form of spice, something that people smoked. And he had a kava bar. It was actually in West Palm Beach. He had it's called Kava Sutra. Kava and Kratom. He had a kava bar in Lake Worth, West Palm Beach. He still has all of these kava bars have blown up. But anyway, he created something called Mr. Nice Guy, and he got in trouble for it, went to prison for a year, actually went to Coleman. However, he had told me quite a few years ago, back in like 2012, to buy Bitcoin when it was like $8 or $9 per coin. And I just didn't say it was a bad idea, just dismissed it because I didn't understand it enough, didn't put enough homework into it. But Dan is the man with the plan. So anyway, I'm telling you guys, just look at it. And if you don't look at it, you can say later on, damn it, Dan told me. Kim, you're out of here already? All right, Kim. Well, we're going to miss you, Kim, because you always keep the party alive. So this weekend, we've been working on a lot of letters. Here's what I can tell you guys. Just when you're working on your letters. So I got a letter. I'm going to read it. I won't read who it's from, just because I want you guys to see what not to do in your letters. So let me find it here. This is a letter, a character reference letter for a client. This isn't our letter. This is, remember, we ask you guys to send letters first. So pay attention to this, Javier, because I know you're going to be working on your letters. Let me find it here. Okay. So when you guys are doing your character reference letters, when you're getting your letters from your friends and your family member, it's real important that you listen to the instructions that we give you, because a lot of you, time is not your friend, right? Time is your enemy. You might need this stuff sooner than later. You might be, getting ready to go do your PSR. You might get ready to be getting sentenced, and you're waiting till the last minute. Now, I know everybody's got different situations. Sometimes you guys don't even know services like this exist until, you're getting close to it. So I'm not saying but just make sure when you're doing your letters that your letters do not sound like this. And let me bring it over here so I can see it on this screen. All right, character reference letter. Hi, I am so-and-so's oldest daughter. My name is blank. My father is a very good man, and his actions have not negatively affected myself or our family. He has always put his family first, doing his best to provide. I would consider him to be a family man and a hard worker. My dad would never intentionally do anything to hurt anyone and is definitely a peacemaker. He is a man strong in his faith and is strong in his family. I believe that he was trying to do what was right and did not in any way know that he may have reason to get in trouble for anything he participated in. He was trying to build relationships and support his family. I believe he deserves a second chance because he is a rule follower. He is a great all-around person. He is a great father, and does what's best of his ability to choose the righteous way and do good things. As I stated above, I no way believe he was trying to deceive. If so, on purpose, he is honest, hardworking, loving, nurturing, and faithful. He sees the good in everyone, and I hope those reading can see that. Okay, so that was a letter from someone's daughter. So obviously, the letter is not a bad letter. I mean, it's a good letter. It's clearly that's the way that she wants to see her father, and that's the way, of course, what father doesn't want to be seen in that light. Now, it's important, guys, when you're doing these letters that it doesn't sound like that, because when a judge gets a letter like that, and basically it said what a good person he is, and almost like he didn't really do anything wrong, like there's not much of accountability being taken there. The judge is going to look at that, and that's exactly what the judge is expecting to get, right? That's the type of letter the judge is expecting to read. So judges are well prepared for the mentality that friends, family are going to say good things about you, because they look from your point of view and from your family's point of view, especially from your kids' point of view. You forget that the judge has read 10 million letters just like this one, right? So you start to think that maybe I can connect with the judge. Maybe I can get him to feel sorry. No, you can't. The only way you can connect with the judge is doing the opposite. You got to show the judge that you are holding your family member, your father, your brother, your mother. Show them that you're holding them accountable. You've got to explain this in these letters, because if not, it just sounds like every other letter the judge has read. It doesn't talk about how he's hurt his daughter, doesn't talk about what his daughter is going through, the sleepless nights that she may be having. Even, look, we read her letter. There's no way that a father can be going to prison and that not affecting his family if he has any kind of relationship with his family. So it's very important that it's put into the right way. And this is what we do. We make sure letters like this don't make it to the judge. And it's nothing against him, his daughter, or anything. It's the mindset. Family members do not want to say bad things about their family, even though saying the honest truth and the bad thing at the right time can have the greatest impact to showing a judge that you are really sincere in the remorse of what you've done. So anyway, so I just want to make that really clear to you guys. Hey, done with that one letter that was sent out to you. Good. Javier, you sent me the letter? But when did you send it, bud? Because I didn't even see it come through. I will do a search for it tonight. It's always good when you guys send me letters in case they go to spam or something else. It's always good to shoot me a text. Let me know that you sent me your letters, because I know a lot of you, like I said, time's not on your side. So I want to make sure I get this in front of myself and in front of my team ASAP to start getting under the review process. So I'm glad you just said that, Javier. I'll go ahead and look for it when we get off of this. And if you want, shoot me a text just so I don't get sidetracked there. So does that make sense to you guys on the letters? Does that give you some insight, like how to start preparing the letter? And we send out a pretty good, I don't want to say a template, because I definitely don't want to tell you guys how to write. Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, Javier, that one was good. That gave us some, yes, that was, if I had it in front of me, I'd read it right now. I thought you meant your letter, buddy. But yes, the one your aunt wrote, the school teacher, that's exactly how, look, you guys want to basically identify how they've impacted you as a victim. I was reading through my PSR today, my personal PSR, and it was crazy reading the victim impact section. And it says right in there, no victims. And it's so wrong. I had so many victims in my case, so many victims that just the court doesn't necessarily identify them properly as a victim. And it really should, because this is what's so wrong with the system, is it's so just black and white. And there's such a big, giant gray area that exists. And that's why you guys are here right now, because that gray area is so foggy and you don't know where to move. All you know is the black and white part. You know, I got in trouble. My attorney tells me this, and the rest is a fucking mystery. You need like Scooby-Doo and the mystery van to come figure out who the real monsters are and who's really out there hurting people and who's helping people. So I'm like, I don't know, would I be Shaggy or would I be Fred? I don't know who I'd be on there. I know you guys miss Scooby-Doo, Scooby Snacks. But yeah, I think it's important to have real conversations with real people. Not everybody's letter is going to be the same. Dan, how many character reference letters are good to get? I would say 2 to 3 character reference letters and a personal narrative. Here's the thing. Obviously, we can all reach out to everybody we know, mothers, brothers, sisters, doctors, priests, school teachers, friends that are in politicians that are friends, and we can get them all to say great things about us. The judge, look, when you hand over the judge a packet of letters, and this judge is like, you've got to be kidding me. That's probably, if you ask the judge, I've never asked a judge this because he may not even admit it, but if you ask him the worst part of his job, that's probably up there in the top 10 when he gets a book to read and you expect him, or he says they expect me to read every through one of these and come up with how I feel about this person. So to me, having 2 or 3 really strong character reference letters, I all day long will take quality over quantity personally. There might be other coaches and consultants that have a different view on that, but if you look at it from like, put yourself in the judge's position, and here you go, case number, it's not even name, it's case number 3,424, Hansen versus the state of whatever, Hansen versus the government. And you hand them a Bible of 500 different pages to read with all stuff saying the same thing. He's such a good guy. He loves his dog. He's sorry for what he did. He's a great person in the community. He helps little old Martha bring up the groceries every Friday. He got a cat out of a tree. That's what the judge is reading. So there might be one good letter in that whole entire bunch, but he remembers the last couple of letters that he read, right? Because basically, you know, when you get to the end of it, you're not going to remember everything, but you're going to remember the most recent stuff. So why not make the most recent stuff the most relative stuff? Put 2 or 3 crushing letters in there, just crushing. I'm talking about like Grammy award winning, like, man, that judge should be like, wow, I am not used to reading letters like this. And then you've got some kick-ass personal narrative to back it up, to go into your PSR, to be a part of the official record. These things make a difference. And anybody that tells you they don't, like, what's that company again? Oh, Rdap Law Consultants. They'll tell you that the letters don't matter. Guys, run the other way. Change your phone number. Delete them out of your phone, because that is bad information. Bad. I can't believe that there's a legit I can't believe there's a company out there that actually says these things to people. So, guys, the letters make a difference. And that's why I put that link in here, and it's in the description of the video, of a form for you guys to fill out to see if these services can be given to you at a discount. I know not everybody can afford it, and I know for some of you it's such a struggle, and I hate that. I hate that that's part of what I have to do in order to keep this momentum going. I hate it. So I'm trying to do what I can. I found some really cool resources that, if all goes well, we might be able to make this service available for other people that don't have the necessary means. And look, guys, if you're watching these videos and you believe in this type of work and you believe in helping people, because this doesn't just help people get out of prison sooner. Trust me, anybody that's been with me for a minute, and Todd can attest to this, anybody that's been with me for a minute is going to tell you that I do more than just help you with your letters. I help you find out who you really are. I help you navigate the way of who you want to become. I help you hold yourself accountable by asking you the right questions about what you're doing with your life. What are you doing right now to change your life? What are you doing to make it right with your victims? I'm not going to sit there and let you tell me how sad you are and how you can't get out of bed and how you can't tell your family. I'm going to tell you to snap out of it, and we're going to have real conversations about what you need to be doing. It's up to you to make those hard decisions and those choices to do it. But I'm telling you, that's the difference. That's what you get when you work with Rdap Dan. But and that's what I hope that this community grows into. And those of you that have the ability to see that this service can benefit somebody, donate. We've got clients doing it all the time. And that's how we're able to sometimes shave off a cost for a client here or there, allow a client to go into a payment plan. Because look, guys, despite what you may think, every business has costs involved, not just, personal bills, but, I make this thing run and I make sure that it runs the way it should, no stone unturned. But prison is a very real, very dangerous place. And if you're prepared mentally to deal with the politics, headaches, frustrations, and pain that come along with being in prison, you will have issues. If you're not prepared, my bad. If you're not prepared, that's right. If you're not prepared for what you guys are getting ready to go into and issues, that might mean different things to different people, depending on where you're going. If you're going to a medium or a pen, those could be, health issues, dangerous position issues. Your 5K1 could potentially pose a problem for you. If you're going to camps or lows, those issues could be like, man, I didn't know about halfway house. Man, I didn't know that. I had a client email me today. Not a client, I'm sorry. A prospect email me today wanting to find out if there's anything she could do to shave time off of her sentence. She's getting ready to self-surrender, I think, in May. And she's got a hold on her from, what do you call it? From ICE, which is basically immigration, because she might not be here complete. Her paperwork isn't finished. She came over here legally, but she never got her U.S. citizenship finalized. And now that she's in trouble, they're not going to. So now, oh my God. All right, guys, we got a famous star in the room, Lauren Wise. That's my daughter. Hi, Lauren. Wow, I just lost my train of thought. So for those of you that have kids, there you go. My daughter's in the room. If you want to know what this is like, how this makes your kids feel, what they go through when you're getting ready to go into prison, she'll tell you, if I hadn't told her, how that would have made her feel. And yeah, wow, that's my daughter. It's crazy. What was I just saying? Yeah, so this lady, I just lost my train of thought altogether. So this lady's got a hold on her because she's not, they're not going to let her get her U.S. citizenship. They're going to revoke it. So what that means is no RDAP, no camp, no halfway house. She'll serve all of her time, and then there'll be a hold on her. And if they don't come and pick her up, eventually they have to let her go, but she loses out on all of these programs. So, all right, Javier, have a good night, buddy. What are you doing, Lauren? You're up kind of late. I can't. It's like this is the first time my daughter's come into the room. I always send my kids notifications that I'm running my live video, and there she is. It's amazing. So, wow, I just completely lost my train of thought. Telling your kids about getting ready to go into federal prison is so important. And if you wait right until the end, the problem with that is they don't necessarily process it immediately. It's a huge hit to them when you explain this to them, and they might not fully grasp it. They might block it out. They might build an immune to it. And you might think, wow, they're dealing with this really, really good, or this isn't bothering them. And I can assure you, at some point in the game, it is going to affect them. It's going to affect them in a way that you can either be there to help them go through it, or if you wait too long, you're going to have to try to do that from inside prison. And that can be extremely hard. I saw a lot of guys go through that. Even though I told my kids pretty early on what the potential was, I remember that phone call to my daughter the day before I left, specifically to Lauren. I spoke to both of them the day before I left, but I remember to Lauren, even though she was prepared for it. And I was talking to her on the phone. She was back in New York already, back in her mom's house. She was, she had a nice little breakdown there, and it tugs at you because you, as a parent, you want to protect your children from feeling this way. And not only was I not protecting her from feeling this way, I'm the reason she was feeling this way. So it was like trying not to be sad for myself on how I'm hurting my daughter. That's exactly what I was doing. So when you guys ask yourself the question, or if anybody ever asks you the question, would you ever do anything to hurt your family? And you say, absolutely not. Everything I do is to help my family. The decisions and the choices that we made, um, it's hurt our family, guys. It's hurt our kids. It helps them have issues in school. It can possibly, all kinds of, they might start doing crazy things in school, doing crazy things outside of school. And it might not just because they want to get back at you, but they've got so much emotion going on in their mind that they may not know how to process that. And they start lashing out. And then you want to get mad and yell at them. I didn't raise you this way and this and that. It doesn't always work the way you plan it. Lauren just said Katie is sitting with me. So both of my kids are watching right now. And that's really cool because we have all the Rdap kids here. Oh, my Rdap kids. They really are amazing girls. And I'm missing such an important part of their lives right now, watching them, just grow up. And I've saw them once since I've been out. I went up to New York in November, and that video is on here. So it's, if you guys want to see my little reunion with my kids, you can see it. But it's just trying to have a relationship with your kids going through this. Even after you get out of prison, it continues. You've got halfway house, you've got probation, you've got so much that you may not want to expose them to, or they don't want to be exposed to you. You're right, Johnny. I can't believe how nervous I am right now. Like my whole body is heated up. Like I need to put this coffee away and get some ice water. But just being honest with your family and your children about what it is that you did and taking ownership for that. We all want to minimize, like, you might want to tell your kids, I'm going to prison, but I didn't really do anything wrong. I'm just, you start playing the victim card. And I'm pretty sure I probably even did that myself. And it took me a long time to really come to terms. I wrote a lot of emails. I spoke to them a lot while I was in prison. And I tried to always make them feel like they don't need to be extra nice to me to make it easier for me. The goal is to make it easier for them. And if that means letting them scream at you and tell you how you fucked up their lives and how you feel like that you ripped their world apart, then let them expose that. Let them open up like that, because that's going to happen at some point. And you're either going to be part of it or you're not. And you're going to find out after the fact. My kids aren't perfect. They're perfect to me because they're my kids, but by any means, they're not perfect. They've had their fair share of mistakes. They got to learn things the hard way. I had them doing RSAs for a minute, and we joke about it and stuff now. But all in all, my kids have good hearts. They have good minds, good heads on their shoulders. They're trying to do the right thing. And at the end of the day, they're kids, they're teenagers, right? So they're going to make little mistakes. But having a responsibility like this, and when I say like this, having a responsibility in dealing with so many people that are going through this process, that are getting ready to head off to federal prison. Todd, you're getting ready to go away for 17 years. You're getting ready to go away for 17 years, and here you are looking for information, advice, help from me. So carrying this responsibility, I have to make sure that the information that I'm giving you guys is real, valid, practical, practical being a key word, practical information. Because otherwise, you get there and it's like, this isn't what I was told. And it would be doing an unjust service if that were the case. Um, so yeah, so I hope you guys, if you have questions and you want to know certain things, maybe I just touched on and you want to dive in deeper to it, all you got to do is ask me, email me, text me, call me, and I answer those questions. So is your process, Dan, kind of the same for after the PSR and sentencing once you're down to get more halfway house with the reference letters and the narrative and such? Uh, yeah, as far as like the work that goes into it, yes, it's a different approach because you're dealing with a different audience. You're not dealing with a sentencing judge. You're dealing with a case manager coordinator who oversees like reentry departments in the halfway house. But for the process that we put into it, it's the same amount of effort, the same amount of work, creating letters, creating narratives, creating backstory, tracking a progress report from what you did from the time that you go into prison to man, my nose won't stop running. Thanks, Katie and Lauren. From the time that you go into prison, we create a progress report of what you've done with your time. That's why it's so important that when you do decide to hire me or utilize my services, we're not just emailing back and forth. We're coming up with a plan of attack of what you're going to do while you're locked up. You have to program properly. You can't just sit around bullshitting all day long in prison, playing cards, doing sports. That's great stuff to pass time. But spend an hour or two a day, 5 or 6 hours a week at least, taking specific targeted programs that we come up with in a plan that is going to illustrate the reason why additional halfway house should be in your future. Gotcha, Crystal. I'll look for that email. But communicating with your family from inside a prison is super huge. And do not allow your negative thoughts to transpire onto paper and go out. If you're allowing yourself to have a bad day and you sit there and start emailing your family, I'm doing so bad. I can't deal with this. What do you expect your family to do with those type of letters? They already feel bad enough that you're in prison. Trust me, your family's not happy you're in prison. At least they shouldn't be. And if they are, then you got other issues going on. But your family typically is not happy that you're in prison. So when you catch yourself having these funky days, and I know, look, we all have them, turn your mood around by writing about positive things that you're going to do and start coming up with ways that you're going to actually initiate these things that you're going to do. You want to inspire your family to like have it a little bit easier of a time while you're in prison. You want to alleviate their stress. Don't add to it. If you start talking about how shitty your days are and how bad the food is and the guards are so mean and you can hardly take it in here and you don't feel like you can handle it, all you're doing is you're intensifying what they're going through and they don't even want to read it. When you get a letter from like a bill collector or a collection agency and you see it and you're like, I'm not even going to fucking open that because I know it doesn't say anything good. That's how people will view your letters. You don't want that. You want them to go, oh, my dad wrote me again. Can't wait to read the crazy stuff he's doing now. My daughter literally told me, don't drop the soap. That's what my daughter told me, Caitlin. She's my older daughter. Don't drop the soap. And she wasn't saying that to be offensive. She was saying that because I had created the tone of the relationship of me going to prison. The world does not stop. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to come out better. Whenever we spoke, of course, I tell him I miss him and I love him and I hate being here. But I always told him about the crazy things I was doing. I would send him pictures of all the weight I was losing. I'd tell him funny stories about, there's people in here, not funny stories, but I would tell him, man, there's a guy in here that's been locked up for like 20 years. And here I am dealing 13 months. So trust me, as much as the situation sucks that you're going to prison, there's plenty of positive. If you choose to focus on the positives of that situation, you will find them. It's really easy to find the negative shit that you're going to deal with. And if you choose to dwell on that, then don't even write your family. Go sit in the corner. Don't talk to anybody. Go boohoo in the corner. Go find other inmates that want to live that negativity lifestyle. Because trust me, there's plenty of them that will cater to your whining and your sadness and your BS. But at the end of the day, they don't want to hear it. They just want to bitch to you when you're done bitching. So it becomes a bitch fest going back and forth. If you catch yourself engaging in that, think of this conversation right now, that you are a weak-minded person that is not allowing the positive benefits that you could be taking away from this experience to intertwine with who you want to be. Don't be that dude or that female. Change who you want to be. And it starts with right now. It starts with positivity. And positivity for people means different things. The Bible, Tony Robbins, positive thinking, working out, push-ups, hanging out with like-minded people that you know are going in the right direction. Don't just, it's so easy to say not to get caught up in the BS and the gossip, but guys, I see it happen all the time. And not just in prison, I see it in my real life. I see it with the people I care about. I'll hear them bitching and complaining about things at work and this and that, and they'll complain about coworkers and their bosses or employees, and I'll ask them, have you said this to them? I don't want to. Well, why are you complaining to me about your issues at work? If you're not willing to deal with it at work, it just means you're going to come home tomorrow and have the same exact conversation. And I really don't want to sit here and dwell on this negativity. There's enough negative stuff going on in the world. We don't need to give into it. I just want time to fly when I'm in there. Look, man, it's going to fly, Johnny. Time is going to fly. I promise you. No matter what, you might feel like it's forever and a day ahead of you. But once you get through that day, you get through that month, and you get through that year, and you look back, you're going to be like, wow, that was really, really fast. Like, I cannot believe that basically this part of my life started in 2011 is when it started, right? That's when I got in trouble. Looking back, thinking how long ago that really feels like to where I am right now, man, it all seems like a quick flash. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, because you want to be able to hang on to this, and you want to be able to remember these memories and what you're feeling right now. I remember guys in prison saying, I don't want anything from prison. I'm not bringing anything with me. I don't want any books. I don't want anything. I don't want anything to remind me of this. I want to put it out. I get that kind of, but at the same time, I think it's important to find something to remind you of where you've been. My dad was always super positive, and it was very helpful. He would tell me about contests and all the exercising that he'd do. Thank you, baby. I won a few contests in my day over at Coleman Low. I won a push-up contest. I won a pull-up contest. I won a couple different little contests over there. I'm very competitive, and I probably would lose all of those contests right now because, real life kicked back in, and time for the gym I haven't made enough time. I'm making excuses is what I'm doing right now. I have excuses to not go to the gym, guys. They're nothing but excuses. But those are the kind of stuff I would talk to my kids about, because I would tell them about Rdap and what I'm doing in Rdap and how it's affecting my mindset and how I'm changing. But at the same time, there was shitty days in Rdap. There were times where I was getting freaked out, like I was going to get kicked out of the program, and I was awfulizing and stressing. But I kept that conversation for the people that it was important to have those conversations with. And that was not an important conversation to have with my kids. They were already under enough stress. So for me to put that responsibility on them, going, oh my God, my dad might get kicked out of Rdap and do more time. And, I might not see him. I got out so fast. I got out way, way faster than I had expected to. And me, nor my kids or anybody else in my family thought I was only going to serve 13 months in federal prison. We all thought it was going to be 2.5 years, give or take, around there. So the fact that I did it in a year was a huge, huge feat for me but guys, I never stopped working, never stopped processing, never. And that's what I hope for you guys And I had some really good people in my corner, just like you guys need some really good people in your corner. I had people like a life coach. My best friend's mother is a Christian life coach, Janice Lavore. She's probably one of the best life coaches, top rated Christian life coaches, maybe in the United States. I had support from her. I had support from my family and friends because I put out positive information, letting them know what I was trying to do. I also was very clear with the mistakes that I had made that put me in there. And the longer I was in prison, the more those mistakes became really evident and really like to the forefront of my mind, to where I felt like, okay, I've identified it to myself, but now I got to make sure everybody else hears me identifying this so they know that I know what I did was wrong. So I started explaining to people, this is what I did. This is why I did it. This is why my thinking was wrong. My thinking was irrational. El Gordo, why so hard in Rdap? El Gordo, are you asking why Rdap was so hard for me? Is that what the question is you're asking, buddy? I think it is, just to make sure before I answer it. They have very large library books, Michael F. Um, the library where I was at, it was a pretty massive library that had, I mean, you name it, tons of donated books to choose from, and good books. I mean, everything from fiction, nonfiction, stuff on video. You could watch audio, you could, I mean, yes, the answer to your question is you probably will never, ever run out of stuff to read. El Gordo, why was Rdap so hard? Rdap is not this walk in the park that we might make it out to be in our own minds. And Rdap is, okay, obviously, the main goal why people originally want to take Rdap, for the most part, is you can potentially get a year off of your sentence, 6 months to a year off of your sentence, and you know that it's going to guarantee you at least 6 months of halfway house. So that's the main reason why most of us are like, I need Rdap. Okay, so everybody knows that, including staff, the whole prison, everybody, attorneys, judges, everybody knows you want the time off. So because that year being held over your head is such an enticing reward, they really, really, really use that to their advantage. Rdap becomes really hard because of the accountability aspect of it, El Gordo. You have to be able to be willing to hold your peers accountable, just like they're willing to hold you accountable. And it becomes very uncomfortable, especially the first few months there, because you're doing things that go against prison politic. Like, it is definitely prison politic. One of the main rules in prison is, what has everybody heard about prison that's never even known anything about prison? We've all heard the term snitches get stitches, right? So Rdap, you are obligated to, and I hate to use the word snitch because that word is used in a bad context. You are obligated to hold each other accountable. And if you see another fellow Rdapper doing something they are not supposed to do, whether it be skipping line in the chow hall, whether it be smoking cigarettes, whether it be getting a tattoo, whether it be getting into a physical altercation, whether it be threatening somebody. I mean, there's various different things on what could happen. If you see that going on, you are obligated, required, it is mandatory that you bring that to the attention of the community being Rdap. So you've got a morning meeting that lasts about 2 hours in the morning, and you are required to stand up in the morning meeting and basically say, El Gordo, I'm pulling you up today. Yesterday, I saw you on the softball field and you got upset when somebody threw the ball, whatever, too hard, too fast. And you got upset. You told him if he does that again, you're going to beat his fucking ass. Doing something like that in the heat of the moment, even though you were just angry, maybe you weren't really planning on doing it, but you allowed that to come out of your mouth and another Rdapper heard you that might just be out there on the rec yard watching and you overheard it. He's now going to say you threatened another inmate and you used power orientation, where you're asserting your power over others, making them feel weak. That is a pull-up. So now you're pulling somebody up in the morning meeting in front of everybody, telling them what they struggle with. And it can become hard because you're doing that in front of a community where potentially somebody could get kicked out of the program for doing something like that. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to get kicked out just because you did that. Now, if it's like the third or fourth time it happened, he'll probably get kicked out. If he reacts poorly to you doing that, when you start saying that, if he gets all defensive and saying that's not what he said and that's not how he meant it, they're going to say that he's mollifying and he's not taking responsibility, and it shows he's not hearing what you're saying. That could be a reason to get removed from the program. So what, Dan? You have to do that? Yes, Johnny, you have to do that. You're going to get pulled up like that, and you're going to do pull-ups like that. They call them pull-ups. That's the name for basically when you hold somebody accountable. It's called the pull-up process. And it's part of the program. If you go through the program and you don't ever pull anybody up, there's a good chance that you'll be pulled aside from the staff, and they're going to say you're not programming right, because trust me, there's never going to be a time in prison where you don't see somebody doing something they're not supposed to do. You've got to make judgment calls whether or not to hold them accountable or not. Let's say that I saw El Gordo do that and I decided not to say anything. But let's say Johnny also witnessed it, and Johnny pulls up El Gordo. And then one of the staff members say, was there anybody else around Johnny? And Johnny says, well, just Mr. Wise. Did Mr. Wise hear it? Yeah, he was right there. And they look at me, Mr. Wise, how come you didn't put your hand up for the pull-ups? I get in more trouble for not pulling up El Gordo than El Gordo gets for getting the pull-up, because now I'm enabling. I'm allowing El Gordo to perpetuate this type of behavior because I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want to make anybody upset at me. That's how the program works, guys. So it's super important that you get that you grasp that and you understand that, because if you don't, you are not going to make it through Rdap. You have to be willing to do that. And once I realized that, and I realized that piece of paper I signed when I signed up for Rdap, when I signed that participation, it says right on there, willing to participate in all aspects of the program. All aspects, morning meeting, all classes, all conduct within, even when you're not in class, even after hours, even on the weekends when you're cutting it up and you're having a good time and you're watching movies. Somebody gets up and changes your channel. And if I were to say, yo, man, get away from the TV, I was watching that. Somebody could take that as an aggressive statement from me, and I could get pulled up again for power orientation, asserting my power over others, assuming their weakness. That's what bullies tend to do, right? You got somebody controlling the TV, it's their TV. And if you go change the TV, you're going to face the consequence. That's why if you know you got that type of personality, stay out of the TV room. I've seen more issues, and if Billy Gomez is still in this room, he will attest to this. He's probably seen most of the altercations that take place out of nowhere, like just out of that pop off, probably happened in the TV room. And Billy Gomez, if you're in here, take some feedback on that. Guys, it is super important that you check yourself. You open up like a book. You expose your weaknesses. You look at your weaknesses, and you do not try to fake your way through Rdap, because these DTSs are like canine hound dogs with genetically engineered super sniffers, and they will sniff your scam out and expose you for the fraud that you're trying to be. I drank a pre-energy workout. I was going to go to the gym and I didn't go, and I decided I'll drink it anyway and I'll energize it up for federal prison time with rdapdan. So that's why I might be a little energetic tonight. Probably not going to help me sleep. So part of what I do with my service now, part of what I do with the service on the Rdap coaching side of things is dealing with a lot of what we just spoke about, making sure, not just before you go to prison, guys, the whole time you're in. I've got a client right now, Hunter Moore. I've told you guys, Google his name if you haven't already. Hunter Moore, the revenge porn king. So if you haven't Googled it, go ahead and check it out. He actually gets out on, I think, the 27th of this month. He gets released. He did Rdap. He got through Rdap. He's finished. He's done. And this guy, I promise you, he will be on my show within the next 3 weeks. He will be on the show. I'm definitely going to do an interview with Hunter because I've got email communication with this guy from start to finish. And Hunter Moore struggled with the roadblock of awfulizing. He always thinks the worst. And I struggle with that too. To this day, I awfulize really, really bad. But it's in my awareness, so I catch myself doing it a little bit more. Or I catch myself catching it and not letting it like go off into the deep end. But Hunter will tell you how stressful Rdap was in situations where he probably had nothing to worry about, but because Rdap keeps you on your toes, you always think, shit, I did something wrong. What did I do? Like you always think something bad is going to happen. And that's part of it's that's part of what they want to put you through because they don't want you to relax. Their idea is to make you feel uncomfortable as possible for 10 months. 10 months. 10. That's a long time to live in a unit under scrutiny. It's like Survivor Island when all they're against each other and they're plotting and they're planning and they're plotting and they're planning, but it's not 10 months. You live, eat, sleep with these dudes or these ladies, whatever unit you're in, for 10 months. So you're in constant anxiety and you need to be able to release that. And sometimes you need to be told certain things. You need to be you need it to be broken down to you. And that's the service that I offer. And that's what I've done with Hunter. I put him in check. Like right now, he's stressing about the halfway house. It's like, stop fucking stressing about stuff that's out of your control. You're going to the halfway house. He's nervous about how bad the halfway house is going to be and what they're going to make him do or not let him do, or all these things that he doesn't know anything yet. He's just listening to inmate.com from the other inmates that are in prison telling him, oh, halfway house is going to suck. And look, halfway house is no fun. We all know that. You know, none of this is fun, but you got to go through it. So stop focusing on that. Start thinking about, what am I going to do for work? What kind of job am I going to get? How am I going to prepare to go home soon? What am I going to do to make them understand that I'm not, you know, this guy that's going to try to create problems, instead of thinking about the halfway house without a plan of why you're thinking about it. So these are big services that I think people underestimate a lot of the times. A lot of the prison consultants out there, you know, it's all about preparing for federal prison, but your preparation doesn't just stop once you get into federal prison. Your preparation is prior, during, and after. The after preparation is just as important because that's when relapse can really hit you at the most. And relapse for you, for me, might be different. Relapse for one person might be like, oh man, I picked up a heroin needle. Boom, there it goes. Relapse for somebody else might be like, oh man, I got to make money. Relapse for somebody else, maybe, you know, being a cheater. Relapses happen to different people. You just have to identify what you might relapse to. Getting to the halfway house, you really feel the negativity. You really feel the negativity of your surrounding more so than prison. In prison, even though you're locked up, you've got less privilege. You feel like you have more freedom. I know that sounds crazy, but in prison, you don't have, like, you can literally roam the compound. You can go exercise. You can find a way to de-stress. In the halfway house, if you're not going to work, somebody leaving? Oh, play rockabye. In the halfway house, if you're not going to work every day, or you don't have a job yet, or, you know, you're not on your weekend socials and you're just kind of stuck in the halfway house, you can go a little bit stir crazy, because there's absolutely, and I'm not going to say this for all halfway houses, most halfway houses, there's nothing to do. Not all halfway houses allow smartphones. The one I was at just started doing it. So a lot of halfway houses, you can't even have a smartphone. You have no access to like the internet. You can't get on and check Facebook and none of this stuff. A lot of halfway houses have a lot of idiots in there where guys are sneaking in drugs and spice and finding ways to get alcohol in and just getting in trouble constantly. The staff in a halfway house is usually, it's not what you're used to dealing with in prison. In prison, it's a little bit more of a professional, like CO inmate type of mentality, where in the halfway house, it's usually somebody younger that's not a CO. They're usually just like, they're basically babysitters. They're just there. They really don't care about anything. It's almost like, imagine somebody from the tax collector's office working at the halfway house, or somebody working at the division of driver's licenses working at the halfway house. That's the type of people that work in the halfway houses. Not there's anything wrong with those people, but they're so used to dealing with people doing stupid things all day long that they just treat everybody the same, which is usually not the best. The longer you're there, the more you show them that you're not there to do stupid things, you will tend to get a little bit more respect, but you have to earn that, guys. It doesn't happen overnight. You could be the best person in the world, but when you walk in there, all they know is, here comes another one, and 90% are morons that come through the halfway house. So is this guy likely he's going to be a moron? And then when you show them you're not, you stick out, you stand out. They stay. And look, it doesn't mean you have to be opposite of the other people. You can still have a good relationship with the other inmates in there in the halfway house. Like, I had a great relationship with all of the people that were in the halfway house. Everybody liked me, from the other inmates all the way up to the staff members to the director of the halfway house. I didn't partake in any of the foolishness. Yeah, I'd play cards and stuff like that, but I didn't engage in the stupid conversations with the staff. If the staff told me to do something, I just did it. I didn't question it. I didn't say, this makes no sense, you guys treat us like kids, because it's an irrelevant statement. It doesn't matter to them. You're talking to somebody that could care less, that has no power over changing anything. They're just they're doing their job, and you're making their job harder. They come through to do count, and guys will be yelling at them, telling them they're, oh, you're a faggot, get out of here, we don't want you in here. Why do you work here? Like, just razzing them like kids. Like when you're in school, like the bullies, when they pick on the kids, that's what a lot of guys in the halfway house do to the staff members. So how do the staff members get back on you? They do not make your life easy in there. They forget to put your passes in. They lose your passes. They lose your mail. Just don't give them a reason. Can you get more time really easy in there? I mean, not necessarily more time, but remember, your halfway house is part of your federal prison sentence. So you can screw up and go back to prison and finish your sentence. To get more time, like additional time, you'd have to do a new crime. You can lose your good time. You can go spend time in county if you get caught, using any kind of drugs, or you get caught with alcohol, you get caught smoking. Well, smoking cigarettes probably isn't going to get you kicked out. But alcohol, drugs, fighting, if you're in a co-ed unit and you start messing around with one of the opposite sex, that can get you in trouble. So it's not hard to get removed from the halfway house, but if you're not putting yourself in that position, if you're not putting yourself in harm's way, then it's kind of hard. I messed up, as most of you know. And if you don't know, there's a video on here a couple months back, actually almost a year ago now, wow, about me going back to county jail. I screwed up while I was in the halfway house, and I went back to county jail for 24 or 27 days. I fought it, I appealed it, and I overturned it. Thank God, or else I would have lost my year of Rdap, and I would have lost my halfway house. That would have been 2 years I would have had to go back to prison for. Ouch. So you can lose your Rdap while you're in the halfway house. If you get caught doing anything like what they call a series 200 or 100 shot, like anything like drugs, fighting, stuff like that, they can take your Rdap away from you while you're in the halfway house. And you go back to prison for however much time they gave you off. That time comes back. So you're not finished with Rdap until you finish your halfway house, guys. In prison. In prison, look, if you commit a new crime in prison, Johnny, you could probably get a new charge. If you get caught making weapons or get caught with weapons, you could probably get a new charge that could add time to your sentence. You can lose your good time in prison. You can get kicked out of Rdap in prison. It's not hard to get in. Like, I never got in any trouble in prison, nothing serious like that. But I stayed out of the way. I did not allow myself to follow the drama. I kept my mindset of what was important. Caitlin, Lauren, Shelly, Oliver, Einstein, and the rest of my little furry crew. My family is what kept me focused because I knew anything that I did stupid now was going to potentially hurt them. And I'd already hurt them enough. That answer your question for you? So don't forget, guys, if you are interested in services and you know your bank account isn't where you would like it to be, and you still want to see what you can qualify for. And remember, if you qualify for my services, it's not just a watered down version. It's the full on guerrilla mode, aggressive what we do. There's the link one more time, just so you guys have it. Just make sure you fill that form out, because that's the best thing that you guys can do to show me who needs the help. And I've got my team on board with this. So for the right people, this can help you guys. So take advantage of it, fill out that form, see what happens. You'll definitely one way or another get a response back. Prison's what it is. You guys got to make the best of it. You got to make good decisions starting now. Your prison sentence, for those of you that are going to prison, it's already started. Clearly you're losing sleep at night. You have anxiety, like you're freaking out. You're trying to figure out how to tell your kids. You don't know what to, just all of these things you're going through. This is part of the prison sentence. The prison sentence pretty much starts from the minute you get in trouble until you're done with the halfway house. Now, I imagine for some people, probation can also be a nightmare, because some people just can't stop doing the wrong thing and they screw up on probation and they're under scrutiny. For me, probation once I started my probation, that was the first time I was able to relax. Because it wasn't that rough. My probation officer is basically like, you do what you got to do. You stay out of my way. I will stay out of your way. You report on time. You don't give me a dirty UA. Don't get involved with any shadiness. Let me know what you're doing. And he's been super cool, man. I couldn't ask for a better situation right now. And this is finding the gratitude in my situation. I could sit here and go, oh, I hate UAing. I have to UA 3 times a month. I've got to call the color line. You guys want to hear what it sounds like when you call the color line? My color's brown too, just so you know. So every day I got to call this number, Monday through Sunday. So I've got it labeled on my phone as a color line. So we call it.
Thank you for calling Rdap Behavioral Health. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911.
So then I press 1.
For help at 83.
For Monday, March 13th, Spokane USPO, Gold 1, Red. Spokane.
So the first one is the USPO. That's me. And obviously they said Gold 1, Red. So that's not me. So I don't have to go UA today. So now tomorrow morning, I'll call it and check it again. And if they say Brown 2, that means I've got to be there at some point between whenever I hear it and when they close, 7 p.m. at night. I got to get down there, go give a UA, and then I'm on my way home. And I just realized I've accepted that as part of my life until I no longer have to do it. So I can't get upset about it. It sucks. It is what it is, but I have to do it. And all of you will have to do something similar. The feds were surveilling our whole crew for months and months during our pretrial. Yeah, Miranda, she's like the family Weeds. She's Nancy from Weeds. Which I used to love that show. And I was watching that show way before I ever got in trouble. Nancy, the real Nancy, and like the TV show Nancy, she never would have got away with that as long as she did, the way she was doing it. But so that's, just doing things that you don't necessarily want to do, but you got to do them. So, why make it any worse? Complaining about it's not going to change the fact that I still got to do it. Right. So just find a way to deal with it, make it part of your routine. Don't make plans and thinking, oh, I hope they don't call me today, because if they do, it screws up my plan. Make your plans around that. Don't forget, there's been days where I've literally forgotten to call. It's like 4:00 in the afternoon and I freak out and go into this crazy panic mode. And luckily, it's never happened where I call at 4 and it's like, yeah, you got to come in today. So for the most part, I've never missed one, other than when I was in New York. I got approval to go to New York to go see my wonderful children's. And while I was in New York, they called my color, but I got approval to not have to go to that one. I had to do it when I got back. So anyway, guys, that's our show. Do you guys have any last thoughts you would like to comment on or questions? Anybody got any burning desires? I love saying that for some reason. I don't know. But if my kids are still in the room, I'm very happy you guys jumped in and introduced yourself tonight, Caitlin and Lauren. Are you guys still here? And Todd Hansen, of course, Kimberly, Madrina, Kimberly, all of you guys that keep showing up on the regular. I love it. Remember, guys, best thing you can do for me is spread this word to your friends and family and let them know that this has helped you and this can help them help you. Johnny, another original. Pond 2122, thank you for joining us tonight, guys. Crystal, thank you for joining us. If you guys have any questions, you can email me, rdapdan@gmail.com or dwise@rdapdan.com. You can always take a peek at my website, rdapdan.com. And I also got the name federalprisontime.com. The website's up. I'm just going to make some changes. There's my baby girls. It was very informational and enjoyable. Glad to be Rdap kids. I love my kids, guys. They are my burning desire to move forward with this. And hopefully this community grows to the point where as they get older, they can be a part of it, because they're super intelligent kids and they can be part of helping with the coaching process for family members, especially other kids. So that will be my dream, and they can live on my legacy. But I love all of you guys. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you. Don't forget, every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Saturday. Mondays and Wednesdays will always be at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. And Saturdays are 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, if you guys need anything, text me 509-434-4695. Love you too, guys. Caitlin and Lauren. All right. And with that said, I got to go over here and turn it off. Bye. Rdapdan. Peace.